Hello, this is the original Spy, and as no one else in the industry right now is writing anything, I'm showing my support by not writing down this recap. But, just like the writers, I've found a way around it. Apparently, I can say whatever the hell I want and post it on YouTube, and that is totally okay. It's been 1 week since intrepid reporter Bonnie Parks disappeared, and the Fedcakes are investigating her abandoned car. Meanwhile, Charlie is giving an interview talking about all the math concepts he can use to help solve the case. Later on at La Maison de Epps, Dawn is furious, even though very few people would actually understand what Charlie was talking about. The real reason Dawn's angry? The FBI AD was pissed, and as we all know, piss heads downwards, so Charlie's gotta get sprayed. In anger, Charlie leaves, insisting he had important work to do that he couldn't do before because he was helping Dawn. Of course, he gets support in his righteous anger by everyone's favorite supporting prop. While driving down a lonesome highway at night, Charlie's talking to himself, and I'm like, yay, I totally do that! It completely annoys all my friends, but yet another thing that Charlie and I have in common, other than the whole I don't get math thing. Anyway, in a doubly scary moment, Charlie and his Prius are nearly run off the road by what I think is the monster truck from that Supernatural episode, Route 666. Why doubly scary? 1 deserted road plus 1 evil truck equals scary. 2, we all know Charlie's driving skills aren't that well honed. And, as he's sitting there, wondering what just happened, we get the title flash. Wait, the problem with improving this recap is I've forgotten something. Oh yeah, here's the opening grid. The next morning at Cal Sci, Larry's come to borrow a book from Charlie since he gave all his stuff away in privacy, including apparently the stuff he needs to teach with. Amita also arrives, and we learn that Charlie slept in his office the night before because he was afraid he was followed. Amita jokes that it was probably because he cut somebody off in traffic, which I guess means that we share the same opinion of his driving skills. Charlie dodges the comment by grumbling about how he has to head off to the International House of Fedcakes. Speaking of the IHOF, David's doing his job, giving exposition on what a good reporter Bonnie Parks is, which means she has a shitload of enemies. But don't worry, Charlie's got a math concept to figure out who's after her, and using an audience vision about that game where you shoot the water into the clown's mouth, he can figure out who is the most likely suspect. As everyone heads off, Colby stays, mesmerized by the image of Bonnie Parks. Blech. At La Maison de Epps, yay, it's Ray, saving the koi, shocking Charlie. You know, I'm really sad that Maggot isn't here right now, because I like watching them flirt. But Ray doesn't want to just fix the pump. He wants to get a whole new energy-efficient one, as the old one gobbles power like a South American dictator. In fact, Ray wants to green up the entire Maison de Epps, but Alan is resistant, which leaves me wondering, Chavez gets a shout-out and I don't? I will take over a small country if I have to. Liechtenstein seems nice, and kind of fun to say. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern search Bonnie's office, and all we learn that she is alone and paranoid, and we get a little bit more foreshadowing about Colby's crush on her. Meanwhile, in the math garage, Amita jokes about sneaking up and scaring Charlie. The hilarity of that totally cancels out any meanness. They talk briefly about the case, but more about Alan's resistance to Ray's plans to make the house more eco-friendly. I actually just think it's another ploy in the Epps house war. You know, Charmita's kind of grown on me. This whole scene is actually kind of cute. Charlie's computer beeps, indicating that he needs to go to the IHOF. He has some results, and Amita offers to go with him. See? That's cute. At the IHOF, Colby's watching the parking lot tape of Bonnie, the same parking lot where her car was found, but David has discovered that the pad in Bonnie's office is entirely covered with numbers. I wonder who can help with that. David also wonders if the abduction is personal, not work-related. Colby and I think the same thing. Dawn makes a brief phone call to Charlie, only to find out that not a single suspect stands out. Now, once Charlie's off the phone, he looks to the side and sees the Route 666 truck is waiting for him, and then a chase ensues and Charlie can't get on the phone, and I'm freaking out, and Charlie's freaking out, and then the truck runs into the back of the Prius, and I'm thinking, oh my god, your insurance rates are going up, and then suddenly he goes into a set of garbage cans, and I'm like, that's your insurance rates through the damn roof, and then they get forced off the road, and then the truck driver dude winds up taking a shot at Charlie, and I'm thinking fangirls everywhere, gonna kill this guy. And Charlie fortunately manages to get out of the car, crawl into the bushes, and set off the car alarm. And that was about the speed my heart was going while I watched that. Fortunately, I can take comfort in knowing what Dawn is going to do to this guy once he finds him. In the shooting's aftermath, Don's being all concerned and sympathetic, insisting that Charlie go to a doctor, and he doesn't get mad when Charlie tells him he's seen the truck before. We, on the other hand, get to see a great piece of foreshadowing of what Don's going to be like as a dad. Fangirls everywhere melt into big piles of smushy goo. Colby, on the other hand, recognizes the truck's description as he saw it on the videotape, and that they must be going after Charlie because he's such an easy target. Don wants somebody on Charlie 24/7. I totally volunteer. What? Oh, yeah, not like that. At Cal Sci the next morning, Charlie's embarrassed by the protection of David, but Amita's totally for it, and I'm totally on her side. Charlie, on the other end, just wants to forget everything that happened, and Amita's like, yeah, ostriches. And I keep thinking the snarkier she gets, the more I love her. When Charlie insists that he has to keep working the case, Amita leaves. Don is still reeling from Charlie's near miss and figures that searching Bonnie's apartment is useless, but Colby insists it is, and he stays at Bonnie's apartment and goes through videotapes of her. Yeah, that whole victim and investigator falling in love thing only ever worked in one movie in 1944, so let's not go there again, thanks. At Cal Sci, Larry tries to intervene on Amita's behalf to try and get Charlie off the case, but Ray Ray shows up, distracting everyone with talk of solar panels and lamenting that Charlie's bodyguard isn't the hot one, Agent Reeves, who he was pretty sure was digging him. Asking that in front of Larry not only marks this week's end pal, but is the funniest moment of this season. Even better, Ray Ray promptly laughs when Larry tells him that he's with Megan. Nice cover, by the way, Ray Ray, by congratulating Larry instead of doing what we know you're thinking and just laughing at the whole concept. A loud noise startles everyone, and Charlie insists he's fine, but I don't believe him. At La Maison d'Epps, Don is concerned about Charlie working for him, and Alan, in his wise ways, reassures his eldest while making the best use of a location shoot. Colby's still prowling around Bonnie's apartment, and I'm glad that a clue arrived through the mail delivery, because otherwise we were totally edging in on the creepy zone here. Turns out she gets 2 power bills, so Colby and Don go to investigate. Colby gets there first and catches the place being robbed. A shootout occurs, and Don gets there just a smidgen too late, because even though Colby manages to shoot one of them, the other 2 escape in the Route 666 truck. It's not a riot gear shootout, but really we can't complain about tight t-shirts now, can we?